You're watching Through the Looking Glass with Dr. Jenny Klein.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jenny Klein, and I've missed you, so I'm back with a new show for us all. It's about our feelings, fears, and fantasies, our pain and our pleasure, our problems and our solutions. It's a time for us to get together and talk together and see if we can come to a better solution to some of the problems that we have. Have you ever felt that you are fair to others, but others are not fair to you, and wondered what's wrong with you? Let's take a deeper look at just that issue. Hi, Ann. How are you today?
I'm okay, Dr. Klein.
You seem nervous.
I am nervous.
Why?
Well, because I finally agreed to come in and talk to you because I have been struggling with something for a long time.
What is it?
It's going to sound very, very strange to you.
Probably not. Go ahead.
You know when you're a little kid and you go home and you say, "It's not fair. It's not fair. I did what I was supposed to do and they didn't do it." That happens all the time to me. And it's been happening to me since I can remember. I really think I'm fair, and
you don't understand why others are unfair to you.
no, I really don't. I
Tell
don't
me,
get it.
Did you ever think, what's wrong with me? Maybe I wasn't good enough? You know you were, but did you ever believe what you know? Or doubt it? What did I do wrong?
I don't think that I ever thought about that, but what I did think about was, why is it me who always has to be the one to give in? Why is it me who has to do the right thing and be fair, and other people don't seem to have that?
Yeah. Well, you only have power over what you do, but you didn't have power over what others do. Did you think that if you were fair enough and you were really fair, then they would be fair too? And that would be fair?
No, I really thought that I was fair.
Well,
I really thought that I was doing what I was supposed to do. I'll give you an example. I have a friend, and we both have children, and she would ask me if I would, take her daughter, and I would do that. And then if
you asked,
I asked, she wouldn't be very nice to my daughter. She would take her, and one day she had to pick up my daughter, and she was sick at school, and I asked her if she could drive her home. Well, she went shopping and left my daughter in the car, and then took her home, and my daughter was really sick.
All right, so that people have different capacities for giving back what they got from other people. You will not change their capacity no matter how nice you are.
But shouldn't it be,
Shouldn't it?
well, you get into a relationship, and a relationship is you do for me and I do for you.
Yeah, but
and it doesn't necessarily have to be 50-50, 100-100. It just has to be an ongoing...
But it depends the character of the person you're doing for. Some people take a lot and give a little. Some people take a lot and give a lot. Some people take what they can get, and then give what they can give. But everyone's different, and you won't change them. You have to know who to stop giving to, that you don't feel it's an equitable relationship. You have to learn to say no.
Well, if I have a friend, and she's my friend, and...
If she's a friend, she has to be equitable. Otherwise, she's a friend who takes more than she gives back. Can you afford a friend like that? Who leaves your kid in the car when she's sick and goes shopping? Could you? Do you want a friend like that?
No, and when I said something about it, she looked at me like, what are you talking about? What?
She doesn't see that she's not as equitably considerate as you, of you, than you are than her. She thinks differently than you, honey.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I asked her for a favor. She said that she would do it, but then she did this to my daughter. I mean, why would you do that to someone's child?
Excuse me, if I took a picture of her, would she look like you? Does
No.
she have a different face?
She has a different face.
Mm-hmm. Well, underneath the face is a different brain and a different way of thinking. Some people give with their heart, and they do well, and they give responsibly, and some people don't consider they have to give back, and some people do. If I did something for you, you do something for me, and I could rely on that because of your character. People have different characters. They may seem very nice, but when it comes to that, you're saying, why is this? Why is this? Because people are different. They're not all mirror images of you. They're not going to be as fair to you. Do you have a friend who's as fair to you as you are to them?
Yes.
Okay. This is a different person, right?
But
But what?
this
But you're
person,
saying, why can't the others be the way, as
Right.
fair as this other friend I
Right.
have? Because people are different. People are more takers than they are give backers. You won't change their character structure that's rooted in their history. You won't change them. You only have to change going out of your way for those people, because they're not going to go out of their way for you or your daughter.
but wouldn't that be changing me?
No, it would be, if it bothers you that it's not equitable, then what you have to do is level the playing field and say, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you. You have to learn from your experience and say no. But you want to be always fair and always good-natured. And you're going to get people who will be good-natured back. You'll get people who will shortchange you. And then the only power you have is over what you do, not what they don't.
So how do you live with yourself when you're not
Being as fair as you should be.
doing what
Your
you
nature's-
do?
Well, you have to either speak to that person and say, you know, I have a problem because whenever you ask me something, I do it for you, but when I ask you, you don't do it back in the same way. And that bothers me. If she can't hear that, she can't correct herself. You could try that. And if she can't correct herself, you have an unequitable
I
relationship.
don't think I could ever say that to
Inequitable.
someone.
Oh, well, then you have to ask yourself why not, because you're speaking to me about it. You're saying, why can't you say this is not fair? And I value your friendship. I want to speak to you about it before I change how I do things.
You know why I don't think I can say that now? Because it sounds so childish. It sounds, you're not being fair, you know, and I remember as a child always having this problem.
And who could you say it to? Who wasn't fair to you? Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother? Who?
Well, my mother didn't believe in fair. You know, I would come home and say to her, you know, Mom, she wasn't fair to me. Oh, fair, just forget it.
Oh,
Forget it.
so you're following. I have to forget it, and I have to always be fair. My mother told me, forget it if she's not fair. Just keep being fair.
Right.
That's where you learned this from? Forget it, because you don't deserve equal treatment. When you complain that things aren't fair, she dismissed it. That's
Right.
why you're dismissing it. What would that make me if I dismiss it? I have to just be good, continue being a good kid, and let somebody, you know, and not be bothered when it's not equitable. You learned this from your mother. Forget it. Your complaints about things not being fair is irrelevant. That's why you can't change.
But that's when I was little, not now.
Honey, let me ask you something. You think there's any time in your brain?
I don't know.
If a situation today is the same thing as what you said to your mother before, You remember that when you were a little kid. You just told me that. Your brain will search for the same situation when you were a kid that you're concerned with now, and it'll bring up what your mother said. That happened many, many years ago. But there is no time in your brain. So the rule for your forgetting it, or you should forget it, if someone isn't fair back to you, is coming from what your mother said. No time in the brain. You want me to prove that to you? What was your first toy?
A Revlon doll.
Color of the hair?
Was reddish.
When's the last time you thought about that? How fast did that come up when I said your first toy? 2 seconds or 4?
2.
The searching part of your brain into the unconscious, which holds all of your memories, 90% of your brain, the searching speed is 400 billion synapses, gap between the wires of your brain, the neurons, a second. Your conscious mind is only 12 or 13,000. So you will pick up from today's situation what mother told you yesterday. You have to continue to be fair, forget it if people are not. And it's still troubling you. And I'm giving you a different answer than your mother did. I didn't say, forget about it. Do less. And you find that very hard to do because mother told you.
So
You
I
have
don't
to
know
keep
who's
being
right.
fair.
I don't know if you're right or my mother was
But
right.
it's bothering you. Isn't it bothering you? Aren't you annoyed that she left your kid in the car?
Right.
Okay.
But I think that's something wrong with her.
That's right. And can you have any power over how she is?
Well, I told her I didn't like it.
Did she change?
She didn't seem to get why I was so annoyed.
Right. Therefore, you're going to go continue and just
I mean,
forget about
I
it?
don't understand how you could do that to a child. The kid really didn't feel good.
The point is you wouldn't do it. You're understanding it for how you are. That's not how she is. So every time you extend yourself for her, you're not going to get the same extension back. That's not who she is. That's who you are. So mother said forget it and just keep on being nice. And you're troubled about that enough to come and talk with me about it.
Right, because I feel like I'm supposed to be nice.
Mommy said forget about it. You know, you can be nice to them and they can throw a rock through your window. You'll still have to be nice to them. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
Actually, you know, as we're talking, I'm thinking something about what my dad said to me one time.
What's that?
What was it? Something about people that I didn't like who were giving me a hard time. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, just bake them cookies."
Give more. Give more and you'll change their character. No, you'll just change their weight. They'll gain some weight. The fact of the matter is making them cookies won't change a person's character. No matter how nice you are, you won't make them be capable of the things that are natural to you, to be nice, to be careful, to be helpful. You know, you got to find someone like yourself. You have another friend
But I
who's
want to
equitable.
be helpful because I don't want to be like queen of the earth, you know, walking around. You know, I don't like people like that who are just so helpful. I want, if I'm helpful, I want somebody to be helpful back to me.
And you have to choose your friends. You have a friend that is equitable, and that's a friend that you have no qualms about doing things for, because, in other words, it comes back, because a person is, if I'm kind to you and you're kind to me, this is a good friend.
But that's how you choose your friend, because this person I like to go out with. She's fun to be with. I like to go to the movies
she's not equitable in
with.
terms of going out of her way to do something back for you that you've done for her.
No.
She's not good at that. She's good for movies. She's good for talking. She's good for lunch. She ain't good for you take care of her thing, and when it comes to your kid, she's left in the car when she's sick.
So the thing is, you just don't get involved in.
You say no to the things she can't deal with equitably, and yes to the things she can. You want to go out for a nice lunch and go to a movie? Enjoy yourself. But in this area, her character doesn't know how to return fair. She doesn't fully appreciate what you do for her and wants to do it back. You have another friend who does. So that friend you do for. This friend you don't do so much for because it's not equitable and it bothers you. Mother said forget it. Dad said bake cookies, do more, be nicer. I said please, that ain't going to change anybody. It's just going to make you miserable. Some people are good for movies and conversation. They're lovely. But they're not equitable in these other things. They don't want to be bothered.
How come?
They're different.
I guess I did think
See,
there was
I like-
something wrong with me.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because Mother said, forget it. Don't expect back.
So
I said,
every
"Wait a
time I
minute.
expected back,
There's something wrong with you. No, there isn't. That's like going into a store and paying money and not getting the goods. She said, well, where's my sandwich? I just paid you. Well, tough. Would that be right?
no,
Okay. So you gave something, but you didn't get the product.
right.
So you gave a service, your time, your concern, your caretaking. You didn't get it back. That's not an area where this friend is capable or deserving of your kindness. But Dad said, bake everybody cookies. And Mom said, forget about it. You just be always fair. You know? I'm not going to answer that phone because we're in session, so anyway.
I don't know. This stuff is so confusing.
It rings one more time. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. My phone rings all the time.
Yeah. Anyway, now you're getting, you see, you're very good because your eyes rolled in your head when I asked you about that doll, that toy, and you searched your mind and came up with something, and you also remembered what your mommy said to you and what your daddy said to you. In other words, you continue to be fair, bake them cookies, it doesn't matter what they do, but you always got to be right. Be nice. And so there's something wrong with you if you're not nice. So what I said in the beginning was in there is troubling you because you can't drop being nice but you don't like unequitable behavior. As a matter of fact, you told her and she didn't change.
I can always remember when I was growing up being told, never take the last piece of cake, always wait your turn.
You be fair, you be nice.
And I always felt like I was getting stampeded.
Because other people don't necessarily have that ethic. And you were trained that way. Therefore, you have to choose your friends because some are good for movies and lunch and they're not good for equitable favors.
But don't you see most people are?
Yeah, I know.
Most,
That's why I have very few friends. And I respect the people like you because I will do back too.
I don't get that.
In other words, I will, if someone does something for me, I want to do something back. It feels right to me, and I do it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate those people a lot. But when I've learned through life that I can be as nice as heck, but the fact of the matter, it won't change another person's capacity to give back, which is rooted in their history. It has nothing to do with whether I was good enough or not.
Right. So I take it personally.
Yeah, I used to take it personally too, and sometimes I still do. Like when you when you pay in your premiums and somebody doesn't give you the coverage that you paid for, and they try to get off with not covering. That it drives me crazy because that's a big organization.
Right.
And very many big organizations do that, and very many don't. It depends upon the character of the person who heads the organization. If they have character, they do what's right. They protect themselves, but they do what's right.
Right.
They don't try to get away with it because the other person they think are just going to let it go because it's too hard to fight. Sometimes they make a bad mistake about that.
I don't know.
Your being fair enough is not going to change the world, honey. I mean, look, 6 million people were killed in the Holocaust. It was because of some madman that wanted to slaughter a whole race of people. It had nothing to do with whether they deserved that or not. That wasn't fair. 6 million people died. Is that fair? When kids get abused. Is that fair? No. People take advantage of children because they're powerless. Is that fair? No. No matter how good the child is, he thinks maybe I wasn't good enough. That's why it happened.
So maybe that's what I'm doing instead of being an adult and making some decisions.
Yeah.
Going back to being a child and
always being good.
Trying to do.
Make the cookies. And always be fit. Maybe I'm good. If I'm good enough, it'll change someone else. It won't change. You can be very good to a kangaroo. He ain't going to change to a chipmunk.
Mm-hmm.
A kangaroo has a nature. It has a genetic form. It's not going to change to a chipmunk because you stroke it. So it'll fit in your house where you're comfortable. You know? So you can pet a dog all you want. It ain't going to change into a pussycat.
Right.
Just because.
Now I see that.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
No matter how nice you are to the dog, it'll remain a dog.
Right.
Now, people aren't complete dogs. They're okay for lunch and movies, but they're not okay for reciprocity.
Right.
And all you can change is do less. But you were never told you could do less. Forget about it when people aren't fair back, you were told.
Yeah, don't get so upset about everything.
Well, when you get upset, you're saying, this isn't right, and I'm going to not... And then I think it's okay to do less that I'm asked for. When I see that person is not a reciprocal person. They take, but they don't give back.
I always felt that was getting even. And getting even didn't seem like a good thing to do.
It's not getting even. It's giving the equity to yourself. Don't give more than a person gives back to you. Not that you're counting in the beginning, but when you observe that that's a pattern, the only person you can change is you, and you have to say, hey Mom, I'm not going to forget it. It bothers me, it was a good question, you got very poor answers. You got to be perfectly fair and everybody will change. No.
But you know, it's funny, that's the way my mom was too.
All she could teach you is what she knew, but these days you go and you talk it over, and you learn something different. You can say no. Practice in the mirror. No, I'm so sorry, I can't do that today.
Suppose you can.
Well, if you want to get shortchanged
you know, I mean,
next
suppose
time, go ahead.
If somebody wants you to do something and asks you to do something
Yeah,
and you don't have any other plans.
You always have to. Isn't that what your mother said? Is that what your mother did?
But you would lie and say you have other plans to do something, so you can't do that?
No, you don't lie. You just say, no, I can't do that today because I chose not to. Because you've already approached her and she doesn't seem to get it. I can't do it because it's against me to do more than I see.
I wouldn't say that to her.
No.
No.
Well, just say I can't do it today. This is time out of your day that she does not reciprocate with.
No. Oh boy.
Oh, but this is hard. This is a lifetime of messages. You know what I would suggest you do? You write a big piece of paper somewhere on your mirror, you know, in your room or something, and you say, just make them cookies. In other words, continue. Just say what your father said, and then just say, forget about it. You continue to do, but just forget if they don't, you know? And look at that and see how irritated that makes you feel. And so you can say, I can give myself a different instruction. I'll be fair to those who are fair to me, and I will do less for those who are not fair to me in that way.
That just made a lot of sense the way you said that.
Maybe
I could write that down.
I'll be fair to those who are fair to me, and I'll be less pleasing to those who are not fair, who do not reciprocate. And that is justice for you, because you're not going to change anyone else.
Well, that sounds... Maybe I should have brought a piece of paper with me.
I'll write it down for you later. Okay? So,
I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay, so we'll see you
So you
next
write it
week,
down.
okay? We'll see you next week. And
I don't know. I don't know about all this.
okay, well, I'll tell you what. We'll talk next week if you'd like to come, okay? And
Are there some exercises that I can do, or
well,
some
we'll
homework
talk about, well, just
assignment
like what I told you, okay?
that I can do?
Yeah.
Just
You think about it.
to practice, or
Write down what I said, and we'll do that. We'll write down what I said. Don't be more fair to others than they
you
are
know,
to
I
you.
just feel like I feel like a child.
Well, there is a child in us. Our feelings come up very quickly. Like, I can't, I have to do what Mommy says. Just forget about it. Make them cookies. Maybe they'll change.
That's what I feel. I feel like a child that, that everyone is out for themselves, and
Yeah. I
I'm
want you
not-
to go home and think about that, okay? Okay? We'll see you next week, all right?
okay.
And you call me anytime it's bothering you again, all right?
Oh, I would never call you.
No, you can. You can. You can.
No, I would never do
Okay.
that.
Okay, at this point I want to thank you, Anne, which actually I want to thank you, Carol Durley, for that wonderful role. You're so good at this. I thank you so much for doing the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
That
It was fun.
so cool. It was a lot of fun. You are actually a therapist.
Yes, I am.
Where is your practice?
Right in Somerville.
Oh, okay. And so we will meet again at the next show. I want to thank you very much, and I want to
you're
thank
very
you all
welcome.
for watching and for your letters. And I also would like to tell you, if you have a question, give me a call at any time. And I appreciate your thoughts and your issues. And just give me a call. All the stuff is on the screen, so grab a pencil. And you can write to Through the Looking Glass, Dr. Jenny Klein, or call me at 908-722-2933 if you have a question. In the meantime, you be real good to yourself and just keep looking through the looking glass. We'll see you later. Bye.
Dr. Jenny Klein would love to hear from you. Email her, jennyklein@gmail.com, or give her a call at 908-722-2933. If you'd like to see more, feel free, just go to drjennyklein.com.